There are people earning $400,000 a year who finish every single month with nothing left, not because of a medical emergency, not because of bad luck, because their brain quietly processes every raise the same way before they even decide what to do with it. You've been here before. The raise comes through. There's a day, maybe two, where the number feels real, like maybe this time things will actually shift. Then something subtle starts happening. Life slowly reorganizes itself around the new amount. The apartment that was fine starts feeling a little small. The car looks older than it did last month. The restaurant you used to think of as a treat becomes the restaurant you go to on a Tuesday. A few months pass. You open the account. There's nothing different. The raise didn't change anything. It just raised the floor. Here's what makes that process dangerous. You never see it happen in real time. There's no alarm, no moment where you think I am now adjusting my lifestyle upward. It just occurs, automatically, quietly. And the particularly brutal part, it will happen again, with the next raise, and the one after that. Unless something interrupts the sequence, every income increase you ever receive will produce the same outcome. More money in, identical savings rate, more expensive life. The math just scales. The problem stays exactly the same. Goldman Sachs published a survey last year that made a lot of financially literate people uncomfortable. 41% of Americans earning between $300,000 and $500,000 a year report living paycheck to paycheck. 40% of those earning above $500,000 say the same thing. These aren't people who didn't try to save money. These are among the most educated, highest achieving adults in the country. People who understand compounding interest, who know what lifestyle inflation means, who have read the personal finance books and watched the content. They understand the system, and they still finish every month having spent essentially everything they earned. That data point isn't there to make you feel better about where you are. It's there because it reveals something specific. The problem has never been income. Income going up doesn't solve the savings problem. It moves the problem to a higher number. The mechanism behind this has a name. Behavioral economists call it hedonic adaptation, but in practical terms, here's all it means. Your brain treats every new level of comfort as the permanent baseline, not a temporary upgrade. The floor, the apartment you once dreamed about, becomes the apartment you couldn't imagine leaving. The salary that felt like freedom becomes the salary that barely covers the obligations you've since built around it. This happens in every human being, at every income level, in every country on Earth. Lottery winners experience it. People who land their dream job experience it. People who finally buy the house they spent a decade saving for experience it. The excitement fades. The new becomes normal. And then the next thing begins to look like a need. Now think about the brain that came before yours, the version that lived in a world where more resources always meant survival. That brain was wired to consume available resources, upgrade shelter, expand territory. That instinct doesn't consult your investment account. When more money arrives, that older operating system does exactly what it evolved to do. It spends it. It's not a flaw. It's 40,000 years of programming working perfectly. The problem is you're running resource management software designed for a world without savings accounts and compounding interest. What makes hedonic adaptation financially destructive is the speed. Research consistently shows the brain completes this recalibration within 3 to 6 months of a new income level. After that window closes, the additional income has been fully absorbed into the baseline, and cutting back from it doesn't feel like discipline. It feels like losing something you already owned. Here's where standard financial advice gets this completely wrong. It treats hedonic adaptation as the enemy, the thing you fight with budgets, willpower, spending freezes. But the people who actually escape this pattern, The ones who build real wealth on normal salaries, who somehow get ahead without extreme frugality, they're not fighting their biology. They're timing it. Because here's what the research also shows. Before that window closes, the new income is, psychologically speaking, money your brain hasn't claimed yet. It exists in the account, but it hasn't been absorbed into the baseline. It hasn't been mentally assigned to any lifestyle upgrade. It's floating. And that moment, the gap between the rays arriving and the brain recalibrating around it, is the single most powerful financial window that exists. Not after you've made a plan, not once you feel ready. Right then, the window is open. The question is whether anything is already in position to act inside it. Now here's why willpower alone always fails at this. When people understand hedonic adaptation, the instinct is, okay, I'll just be more disciplined. I'll catch the rays before I spend it, and for a couple of weeks that works. But the adaptation process doesn't require your permission. It doesn't need a yes. It gradually reorganizes your spending environment until the money is gone, and you don't notice it happening until it already has. That's the structural problem with relying on awareness or intention. Awareness fades. Intentions have expiration dates. The adaptation process doesn't, which means the solution can't live inside your willpower. It has to live inside a system, something that moves money out of the spending environment automatically, before the baseline has a chance to claim it. Think about what happens when that system doesn't exist. The next raise lands, the window opens, nothing captures it. The spending quietly adjusts upward, the window closes. 6 months later you're earning more than you ever have and your savings rate hasn't moved. Then it happens again and again. By the time most people recognize this pattern, they've had 5, 6, 7 income increases, and every single one produced the same outcome: a bigger life, the same financial position. The actual system is simpler than most people expect, but it only works if the timing is right. The moment an income increase takes effect, before the first full paycheck at the new rate reaches the account you spend from, you create an automatic redirect. Research on wealth accumulation consistently points to 50% of the net increase as the threshold that actually moves the needle, routed automatically to a savings or investment account that is structurally separate from your daily spending. Not a budget line. Not a monthly reminder you'll ignore by week 3. A mechanism that moves the money before your brain processes it as available income. Vanguard's 2025 How America Saves report compared 2 groups with identical incomes and identical access to retirement accounts. The only variable was whether savings were automatic or voluntary. The auto-enrolled group saved 12.3% of their income. The voluntary group saved 7.4%. Same people, same money available. A 66% difference in savings rate from one structural change. Not more discipline, not better financial education, just a system that acted before the decision had to be made. The logic is biological, not just mathematical. You're not cutting back from your current lifestyle. You're capturing money your baseline hasn't touched yet. Your brain doesn't experience it as deprivation because the new normal hasn't been established yet. You're acting inside the window. And here's what compounding does when you feed it early and consistently. 50% of a $400 monthly raise, redirected automatically, compounding over 20 years, doesn't produce a marginally better outcome. It produces a fundamentally different financial life. Not because you earned more than the person next to you, because you built a system that captured income before adaptation could absorb it. This reframe changes how you look at every future raise. A raise isn't money, it's a window, and every window closes in 3 to 6 months, regardless of what you do. The only question is whether something captured it first. The people who build real wealth aren't always the highest earners in the room. They're the ones who built systems that acted automatically inside the window. Every time income moved, before the lifestyle caught up, before the baseline reset. The next income increase you receive will open that window again. You now know exactly how long it stays open. You know what happens when it closes without capture. The decision that matters, not in that moment, but right now, before the window even exists, determines whether the next raise builds wealth or builds a more expensive version of the same problem. Set up the automatic redirect before the raise hits. The window is predictable, which means so is everything that happens inside it.